sharing. We all behave differently depending on where you are, right? Depending on your location. For example, the way I make sense of the way I behave here is shaped by the context. You see? So here, who am I interacting with? Who they are, how they respond to me, how they respond to them. Now, if I were to move from this context to another, could be, let's say context A, this is context A, and I move to context B, the people that I'm going to be interacting will be different, might be different. And their differences will inform how I interact with them. You see? So it's very fluid. It's not fixed. It's contextual. It's really contextual, yes.
Yeah, in this quote, she noted that Willis, when he was talking with those young English kids in learning the labor, oh boy, they talked all about their sexual prowess.
Of course.
Now, when she, the black woman, interviews them, oh, they don't mention that at all. Oh, no, I treat my girlfriend just wonderfully. And it all changes depending on who's doing the questioning.
Absolutely. And that has to do with about saving face. And Evan Goffman talk about that. We're going to talk about later, how you present yourself depending on who you're interacting with. If you're on the stage, the people, the audience will determine how you present yourself, right? It's all about context. Well, they did not talk much about, how they treat girls, or because she was a woman, they perhaps thought, oh, she's a woman, I'm not going to talk bad about women. Yeah. Right? But they felt they could talk about the girlfriend because the guy was a white man, right?
Right.
So it's all about who you're interacting with. The people that you're interacting with somehow influences how you behave. See? How you articulate your ideas, right? So it's all about context. And that really linked to Evan Goffman's theory. I don't even know how to say that. Dramaturgy?
Dramaturgy, yeah.
Dramaturgy. So basically, like I said, it's all about performance. I'm performing, right? I'm performing as I'm speaking. And how do I perform has a lot to do with how you respond to my performance. You see? How I perceive you as my audience. You see? So if I were to go to a conference where I'll be speaking with a different group, my performance will be different. You see? Now, when I'm in front of the stage, and I perform a certain way. When I'm behind the stage, I perform a different way. It's all about context. Who I'm performing for, and who I'm responding to my performance. And I would strongly encourage you to read that book. Did I remember it somewhere? The Prisoner of Self and Everyday Life. It's a fantastic book. It was written in 1959, if I'm not mistaken. Well, it's a very good book. It basically tells you how people behave in a social context and what shapes their behavior. What are some of the factors that make them behave a certain way? You see? And that's very important. And what he did, Goffman, he would spend hours observing how people talk, how people interact, like in public spaces. And that's what we do. As soon as you leave this classroom, you're going to go somewhere else, your performance might be different. When you're home with your family, you perform differently. When you are with your colleagues, you perform differently. You see, it's all about performance and how you save face. You see, if you go on stage and you get stuck and you don't know what to say next, you start talking and all of a sudden you get stuck. You don't know what to say. But how are you going to deal with that embarrassment? What do? Do you tell a joke? Or what do you do? Or do you just remain frozen? Is it how you perform, how you present yourself to in a daily life? Then you have phenomenology. I come to your questions. Well, again, it's all about people experience consciousness. And consciousness doesn't happen in a vacuum. Your consciousness is shaped, is informed by your daily experiences. You see, what you experience on a daily basis. That's a consciousness. It's formed by that. Okay? So for people who, for example, who have someone in the family who died, you may have someone in the family who's sick. I have someone in the family. How do you cope with that? How do you experience that feeling? Well, it's going to depend on your spiritual strength. on your values, how you perceive the world, how you perceive death, how you perceive life. Some people might think, it's not a big deal, we all have to die someday. Death is part of life. But how do you experience this? It's all about finding out how people experience these losses in their lives. Or successes too. It's not all about bad things. It could be, how do people experience successes? But it all depends how you define success. How do you experience illness? It all depends how it all depends how you see it. But phenomenologists are interested in knowing how. Not so much in the what, but in how you cope with it. Mm-hmm. You see, like my daughter was, like I shared with you last week, my daughter had to get her tonsils out, and when I was at the hospital, I was okay. I tried to stay calm. I don't cry often, because if I cry, that's gonna affect her, right? So I was calm until they came to get her, and then when they put in that little thing, and I started crying, and maybe another father would not cry, but that's how I experienced it. And how would you experience it? Perhaps the same way, or perhaps differently. If you are so male-dominated, you think men don't cry, boys don't cry, you would hold it, the tears, but I let the tears out. That's how I experience it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Anyway. Now, methodology, again, it's really connected to phenomenology. It actually draws on phenomenology. Again, it's all about how you negotiate meanings, contextually and socially. If people are interacting, you are interacting. How do you negotiate meanings with people that you're interacting? First of all, how do you construct meanings, and how do you negotiate them? You see? And that has to do with the context in which you are engaging your peers, your colleagues, and so on and so forth. You see? So that would be a methodology. How does one read the world around them in order to make sense of one's daily experience in one's life? And Paulo Freire is very famous for saying, and he has been quoted quite extensively, he said, you cannot read the world without reading the world. Because the world is a reflection of the world, right? What we say every day, what we say every day to take a position, somehow reflects the reality of the world. So in order to make sense of your surroundings, you have to have a better understanding of the larger world. You see? So the world itself is not innocent. Words that we use every day in our daily dialogue, conversation with people, are not innocent. There is ideology embedded in those words. There are values, beliefs embedded in those words. So you have to be able to read the world. Just reading the word is not enough. You got to go beyond. Does that make sense?
The word police probably has a lot different context down in Mexico than it does, in a white middle-class suburb.
Absolutely. And how is it related to the reality of people who have been victimized by police officers? You see?
Yeah.
And the critical stand, which is my favorite. And remember, the antiquative stand and critical stand, they intertwine. Critical stand, basically, it's all about how knowledge is constructed, okay? And how you interrogate your daily reality. You don't accept things for what they are. Things don't just happen to be they are. People in power decide how things will be. Now, do you have to accept things the way they are? Well, you accept them if they work in your favor, if they serve your interests, right? But if they don't, then you need to interrogate why they are the way they are. You see? And that takes a lot to do with critical thinking. And that's what postmodernism does for us. It's Antonio Gramsci. It's not Antonio. It's Antonio Gramsci. Maybe I wanted to call him Antonio Gramsci. It's Antonio Gramsci. I mean, briefly, Antonio Gramsci was an Italian Marxist, critical thinker, who came up with, who coined the word hegemony. Hegemony. Hegemony is all about, hegemony and consent work hand in hand. They go hand in hand, okay? So hegemony is a dominant ideology, the dominant ideology that makes people do things that serve the interests of the dominant group. You see? But
wait,
yes,
say that again? That was too
hegemony. Hegemony?
Yeah.
When we talk about hegemony, what first thing you need to think about is dominant ideology. It's a dominant ideology. Okay? That make people believe things that might go against their interest. The dominant class use hegemony to control and exploit. Now, how do they do that? Well, somehow they have to make you do it, make you believe it's in your best interest. I mean, I can give you many examples. I'll begin with one, but before I begin with one, so how they do it? They do it through consent. You see? So they do it through consent. So what they do, they would use discourse, whatever discourse, language, they know that you want to hear, to make you go along with what they want to do. But what they want to do doesn't necessarily serve your interest. For example, I'm very critical of Barack Obama, who's been killing people through drone strikes, right? And in order for him to make his case, he has to make you believe that I'm doing this for your safety, right? That's the dominant ideology. I want to be safe. Therefore, I have to kill those terrorists. And yes, they are terrorists. We know they are terrorists. They are terrorists who have killed people. I mean, I'm completely against terrorism. Completely. But there are many innocent people who lost their lives through drone strikes. You see? But the average man and woman may not know that. Because when Obama goes on, MSNBC, or on TV to make his case, he uses a language that is loaded of hegemonic, dominant ideology to make you believe what he's doing is right. Don't question it. And if you do, he's going to go after you. Or the American population will not agree with you. You see? So that's how ideology works. Another example. I mean, I'm being very critical of Obama, even though I appreciate the fact that he took a stance for people who would be otherwise marginalized. Gay, lesbian, he advocated for gay rights and lesbian. I appreciate that. Okay, so that's something that was never been done before, right? That was not done before until he came to power. I give him credit for taking this stance on that issue. But at the same time, we need to understand when politicians, whoever in power, are talking, don't be a fool thinking that they are speaking for you. And what they want to do, they don't serve your interest. And in fact, in most cases, what they do, what they make you do through consent, do not serve your interest. It serves their own interest. And that is done through ideology. Okay? So that's what it's done. If I want to talk about immigrants, oh, those immigrants, they're going to come here and take our job, they're going to kill people, they are murderers, all these kind of names. Well, there are people who are not immigrants who've been in this country who have committed crimes. Right? There are immigrants who have committed crimes. We don't understand that. But come on, give me a break. You're going to say all immigrants, they come here illegally to kill you, to break into your houses. But what hasn't been said about those immigrants? Who's picking up those strawberries in California? Who's doing jobs that the average American may not want to do? And yet they're talking about those immigrants, right? Now let's talk about people from the Middle East, right? Oh, they are terrorists. You don't have to be a Muslim to be targeted as a terrorist. If you have a Muslim name, Arabic name, all of a sudden you are a terrorist, right? If you look different, you're a terrorist, because that's what's been portrayed, that's what's been circulated in the media. So that's how ideology works. That's how the dominant ideology works. Makes you fear the other. The other may have nothing to do with you, but they have to find an excuse to make you fear somebody who may have nothing to do with you. Not all, not the people who, who did the crazy, awful things, evil things, in New York in 2001, do not speak for all Muslims. Do not speak for all people from the Middle East. For example, I'm Haitian, born and raised in Haiti. I've been here for 20 years, right? Now, if I commit a crime, does that mean all Haitians are terrorists? No. But the dominant discourse will make you believe that all Haitians are terrorists. Therefore, whenever you see Haitian, run away, run away. Haitian. That's how ideology works. But Timothy McVeigh, who killed people by bombing the building in Oklahoma, was a white male, right?
Exactly.
Does that mean you are afraid of all white males? Why should you? He was a man who was forced into the system and felt that he had to do that evil thing to revenge. But doesn't mean all white males are terrorists. So we need to shift from the dominant ideology to our own ideology, which should be a subversive ideology in some way. So basically, that's how ideology works, right? So the way things are constructed has a lot to do with ideology. So basically, post-colonialism said, wait a minute, we need to understand how the power structure works. How the power structure privileges some people while marginalizing others, right? We need to understand the power structure. And whenever you see power, you see ideology. Those two go hand in hand, right? And you have Jacques Derrida